On this episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast, has it been a free agency failure, or is this just the sign of a top NFL free agent or 10 NFL franchise? My goodness, we're going to get all of that and more right about now. Well, welcome in everybody to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. I don't know, maybe the Broncos just have me tongue-tied to start off the podcast. That's how I started off the intro, a little tongue-tied. And I'm not alone, by the way. I got my good friend, Mr. Jody, the Judge Moncrief, with me as well. Judge, I'm just going to take the mic for 2 seconds because I kind of feel like I need to almost issue an apology.
Vent away.
I'm going to issue an apology for the last podcast that I was on. The last podcast when I was talking about the top 5 free agents on my list to go out and get in free agency. I even had a kicker. I guess my kicker is still maybe a possibility, but I thought the Denver Broncos would be more active. I feel like I almost led Broncos country astray in my ideas and my thoughts, and I had some pretty big ideas and thoughts on paper that I shared with everybody. It has not been the free agency that I think I expected. Probably not the way that I think a lot of Broncos country expected it to go. I think there's some that maybe in the camp that you're more sitting in, though, in the fact that maybe you're a little bit more okay with the way that NFL free agency has started for the Denver Broncos. As I meant to say in my intro, is it a failure of this franchise, or is this the sign of what a top franchise in the NFL looks like? That's going to be the debate that we're going to get into. I'm going to get into the comments as well. But again, Jody, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in here, man. Like I said, I wish we were talking about wild craziness the Denver Broncos have been involved in. It hasn't been all wild and crazy. I think we can agree on that one.
No, I mean, did we go sign a big name guy? No, but I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. You had the best defense in football. What holes did you have on defense? I heard someone say earlier, we'll upgrade Riley Moss. Well, that's what Jahdae Barron was drafted for last year. So upgrade your linebackers. I mean, the move that I have been against, I guess, of all the moves is why Greenlaw was cut. I that one I didn't understand. But if you take a step back and look when he's saying the way Kyle Shanahan coaches compared to Sean Payton is night and day, the way this defense was like learning Spanish to him. I mean, he just said a lot of weird things on top of the fact that he couldn't stay healthy and missed a game for, blowing up on a referee. Whether I agreed with the suspension or not, he still did. So if you take but look at the big picture, I mean, that one makes sense. We can hate on Alex Singleton all you want, but I mean, the guy makes plays. The guy is, and I've said this for a long time, he's the leader of this defense. He's your green dot. He wears a C. I think coming back from the cancer thing, in 2 games, that played up well. And to be honest, I mean, he saved you in the Buffalo game. He doesn't make that tackle, cause that fumble. You're probably down 17-3, and you're getting rolled against Buffalo at home. So,
All good points, man.
I'm not gonna hate on it. Who was the big name linebacker that was out there that everybody wanted? I don't know who that was. Devin Lloyd had one good
Devin
year.
Lloyd, that would be
He
on
had
my top 5 list. Yep.
one good season. Other than that, where was he before that? In my opinion, so
Recording 100+ tackles every season that he played in the league. It's because he showed up with 5 interceptions this year that everyone's ooh and on and over Devin Lloyd. I look at the 3 years prior. I think Devin Lloyd was a great upgrade, especially if you're letting Greenlaw walk out the door. That's just me. It's at some point you got to inject something else into this team. You can point at Bo Nix. You can point at J.K. Dobbins not being there. You can point out a lot of different things as why we didn't get over the hump. But at some point, you also got to say, if you're not going forward, you're standing still. And I'm still waiting for us to go forward a little bit.
I don't know. Back to the defense. Yeah, you let John Franklin Myers walk, but I mean, he got a hefty payday.
Yeah.
And like I've said many times, you take away besides what did Roach miss the first 4 games, I think 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So in games that they both played in, Roach outplayed him in snaps. So Denver was leaning that way anyways. I mean, you're a nickel 70-80% of the time anyways, nickel and dime, and John Franklin Myers is off the field as it is.
Yep.
So I don't really hate on any of the moves this defense have made.
Like the move with PJ Locke as well.
I don't really like. It's not that I wish he was back. I mean, I thought he played well, but it makes sense why he left. I mean, he's going to go start somewhere. He wasn't going to start here. He had ties with Christian Parker, who's in Dallas, so that makes sense. They chose Devon Key, who is an all-pro special teams guy, made plays. So, I mean, that's not making or breaking, in my opinion, you winning a Super Bowl. And then, like I've said on the offense, they were in on ETN. That was everyone's number one guy. We didn't get him, and you were either going to you're going to way overpay for him, or you weren't getting him because he let it be known he wanted to go home to the Saints. That was very important to him. So you missed out. I mean, when it comes to home and that type of thing, that's hard to, unless you're flashing extra zeros on the paycheck.
I want to get to the posse real quick. They're in here. They're talkative. Some of them are right on board with you. Some of them are a little bit more harsh. Rodney came in with the first comment. Says terrible free agency so far. Giving it maybe some leeway with that so far. Rodney, thanks for coming in over on YouTube.
Can I ask before you go to the next one so people can ponder this? I've said this from the very beginning. Besides running back, and we all agree ETN, who was the free agent that was out there that you were going to go pay that was a massive upgrade to what you currently had or you kept? Who was that guy? I'm not talking a trade. I'm just talking a straight free agent guy. Who was the massive upgrade?
Okay. Looking for massive upgrades in free agency. Love to see what
somebody's opinion is on that.
Who was the massive upgrade for this Denver Broncos team out there in free agency? I'm going to get to the comments. I'll have my 2 cents on that and 2 cents on a lot more. Ernie May is coming in here and say, go Broncos country only. Hello, Keith and friends. Good to see you. Mr. Ernie May is coming in on Facebook. Rodney is giving the Broncos an F grade so far. Ernie May is coming right back in on Facebook saying, Bo leave in our Broncos, Keith. Powell's coming in over on YouTube. He says, let's go get that Eagles tight end. Sure, he's talking about Dallas Goedert there, who's still out there on the open market so far. He's giving him a D minus. D minus, laugh out loud. Just sometimes you can only laugh, Paul. I get that, man. Roy's coming in. Facebook. Hey there, Horseman and the posse. No need to sweat it. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna make any moves until after the draft. If so, maybe just one. Rodney's coming in and saying inside linebacker. I don't know if that's the one move he wants to see, but I'm sure that's a place that he would like to see maybe upgraded. Part of the problem is how fast the running backs and inside linebackers got swept up. I want to get back to that one as well. Thanks, Paul, for coming in on that one. That definitely gets my thoughts provoked this evening. Singleton, I did not want back, says Rodney Garcia. And I got to check because I have a few different accounts. Nobody in the background taking care of us. Michael Ronquillo chiming in, though, and always good to see Michael Ronquillo. Like Kenny would say, everybody's friend, Michael Ronquillo. Good evening, Keith and Jody, and go Bo Broncos. He's got blue and orange hearts. He's got a mile-high salute. Michael, I'll be switching accounts here, and if you've dropped a little bit of stars our way, like you always tend to do, and we appreciate, I'll make sure you get the recognition for that as well. He says, I did not like the tight end Adam Troutman re-signing with the Broncos. One of the 3-year deals that was handed out, one was to Adam Troutman, maybe a surprise to some as well. And Paul saying he feels that Singleton and Troutman have both been overpaid. I got to say aloha to our good friend over at Lion Coffee, Mr. Patrick Wiltsey, coming in and saying aloha to us and aloha to the Horsemen. I'm sure everybody else out there in Broncos country. Check out Lion Coffee, lioncoffee.com if you're a coffee lover. I am, and that's what's in my cup right about now. So, hey, guys, smash that like and share button, says Mr. Clayton over on Facebook. Clayton, appreciate you coming in here, being a part of the conversation, and reminding me to remind all of you, hit the like, share, notification button. We appreciate all the love that you can possibly give, and those thumbs up, they go a long way for just a little bit of a click. We appreciate it. So, Lloyd is younger too, said Rodney Garcia. I'm just going to see if I can scroll through some of these, and we might have to skip a few, but I'll get down to Keith Stober, who's coming in and saying, Keith and Jody, always enjoy your opinions. Keith, good to see you. Can't wait for your opinions this evening as well. And Roy's coming in saying hello to Patrick, and Patrick saying hello to a few different people. Here's one that I'll put on your list, but I want to go off on this just a little bit. When we go back to the comment that was made, I think it was Paul who made that comment of the running backs and everybody in the linebackers just went so quick. It's the same speed for everybody. It's the same speed, and I get sick and tired of feeling left out with the Denver Broncos when it comes to free agency. We have not been overly aggressive, other than when Sean Payton first came in here, made a couple of moves on the offensive line, brought in Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey, and kind of shored things up there. There has been very little movement by the Denver Broncos. They've been slow. They've been second and third dayers. They've been adding, pieces and parts on the back end of the roster, not the front end of the roster, for years. Michael Ronquillo wanted Tyler Algier. You were asking for big name upgrades. I think that is a big name upgrade. And Michael, thank you so much for the stars. I'll check that out. I see your comment in there as well. But Tyler Algier, upgrade to this roster, that running back room, in your opinion?
Yeah, maybe. But I already said excluding running back, because I said that I wanted ETN, and that was everyone's number one guy. But there were circumstances why you didn't get him. So you were going to massively overpay to get him, because he let that be known why he went to the Saints. He wanted to be back home, and that was very important to him. So that's hard to compete with. So I get it, but they were in on that, and I understand that. They were in on David Montgomery. They didn't get it. I'm a little frustrated because I feel like you're in this win now mode, what do you need 100 picks for when 2 or 3 played last year in the draft?
Mm-hmm.
Go get the guy you want, and if you're that much, go get him. So the running back, I 100% agree on the running back. Everywhere else, I will question or challenge just for certain things. You can go to tight end. I don't think Evan Ingram was used right. Um, but if you look at a whole, he still had 50 catches. He had almost 500 yards. That's what all these other tight ends that we're talking about, Njoku, Dallas Goedert, whatever, they're all in the same thing. And if you're already paying Ingram, you're gonna have to pay to cut him. If you're in the mind frame of, and this is a question I put to everyone else, do you think that this is just talking offense, do you think that this is a lack of talent, or do you think this is this was a why the move was made? Denver's gonna, and I've heard this report, they are gonna shift a little bit away from the quick screens and all that type of stuff to more of a downfield passing game. And if you think that Davis Webb is the answer to get tight ends involved, get it more 50-50, do you think it's that, or is it a talent thing? So there's a lot of questions that
go ahead.
that I think that you got to step back and ask yourself before you just say, we didn't just go get this big name guy, so you failed.
Fair enough, man. I understand that, man. I'm not about just big name chasing. You know, when I go out there and I start looking at the pieces and parts, and I'll put running backs to the side, man. A couple of names on my top 5, and then my
right, because we all
was running back.
Everyone agrees with running back that
okay, that's fine.
And that's where I'm at with that.
I'm going to put it to the side, man. I'm going to put running back completely to the side, and I'll answer your question regarding the talent. And I want everybody else to get in here. Is it talent from an Evan Ingram standpoint, or is it scheme? And could that be fixed in the future with the scheme changes that are possibly being floated out there, being a little bit more downfield? Could we see a rejuvenation, a joker in one Evan Ingram? But this is my question. We're asking, are we asking the Denver Broncos to be better with addition by subtraction? Because all we've done is we've subtracted John Franklin Myers, we've subtracted Dre Greenlaw, we've subtracted PJ Locke. You're just talking, hey, don't even talk about the running back side of things. Now we're asking guys to step up in rotation, guys that, did we feel better or worse when John Franklin Myers was part of that rotation? I would say better. Did we feel okay before Dre Greenlaw walked in the door about the linebacking group that was there? Because that's basically what we have now. This is pre-Dre Greenlaw, when we were all pounding the table of needing a real linebacker. We are all ready to let Alex Singleton walk, and now we've signed him up for a long-term contract. PJ Locke, great piece on this defense. I don't think you get better by getting him off the field. I think just in that, you could be talking about someone on this defensive line, someone as a middle linebacker, someone on the back end of this defense that could have been added, and so be it if that means that Malcolm Roach doesn't get as many snaps, or Justin Sternad is mad because he's now not getting the reps he wanted. I could care less about that. You need to start adding by adding, not adding by subtracting. I think there's opportunities. If you don't think Devin Lloyd could have came in and taken that spot of Dre Greenlaw, I think you're crazy. If you don't think Javon Hargrave could come in here and be the piece that John Franklin Myers was in rotation, and I know that you're going to come back and say at $11 million a year, how much are we spending for some of these other guys? J.K. Dobbins at $10 million a year? I think a lot of people are scratching their heads over that one. So I think there's opportunity that's been wasted that's going to be putting pressure on the Broncos to do other things as the offseason progresses. I got to get to the comments as well, but I got to get your thoughts because I went on a rant, my friend.
Well, two things that we've known for well over a year, pretty much that they probably weren't going to sign John Franklin Myers, and we knew that. Well, it was pretty well known when they signed Malcolm Roach that he was going to replace him. Um, and you traded up last year in the draft for Savion Jones. That's a guy. So when I hear addition by subtraction, I think they've already been planning that for a while. So, is it going to work out? I don't know. It's going to work out, in my opinion, with Roach because, like I said, he's already playing more snaps than he was. And, I mean, they are different types of players, but he was already getting more snaps as it was. What can Savion Jones do? That's the wild card.
Fair
Dre
enough.
Greenlaw, it just didn't work. I didn't like the move. I thought he needed a second year here, but I don't know behind the scenes how much that pissed off both Paytons. It was like Spanish learning this defense, and why we're talking about how Kyle Shanahan runs his training camp to how Sean Payton does, and all this different things. I mean, he just let that. Why you didn't hear that from Hufanga, who came from the same situation? He said nothing. So I mean, that move made. If you step back, it makes sense because that's kind of how Sean Payton is. There's you don't like it, go. We'll get someone else.
Fair.
And you got to look at what he missed 10, 11 games. So to say I don't want Sternad and Singleton on the field, they were on the field this year and they were linebacking a top 2 defense in football.
Fair.
I don't know what happened from whatever Sternad did from the Buffalo game 2 years ago to the beginning of last season. He did a 180 and he improved so much. I mean, he balled. There were people that were like, he needs to be starting over Singleton. He needs to be starting over Greenlaw. I remember those conversations. So I want to see how this pans out. I think in the draft, you're going to definitely draft the linebacker. Another wild card, Drew Sanders. I know there are people that have given up on that. I don't think Denver has, or they probably wouldn't have brought him back and have him practicing all the way through the playoffs. And then the same with PJ Locke. I think when I heard Benjamin Albright say this, and the more you think about it, it makes sense. Denver had one guy, and it was Jahdae Barron, that they had drafted two, Jahdae Barron and Riley Moss, that they had drafted that were on rookie contracts on the defense. Everyone else you had signed or brought in, and that is going to be a problem. I mean, you've got to get younger because if Bo Nix balls out again this year, you're looking at $50 to $60 million. And these guys that you have signed, they're gone anyway. So I think that was part of the decision. I think that they like Keys. I think they decided he can move into that role. So I don't hate any of the moves per se on defense. It's offense that I'm the running back. It's running back is the head scratcher for me. But everywhere else, I've said even wide receiver. I don't want a Romeo Dobbs. I don't want another guy that's the same. And I threw Alex Pierce. I threw Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't want another guy that's a Franklin, that's a Pat Bryant, that's a Marvin Mims. I don't want that. These guys have been here. Let them continue to grow. I don't want another guy that's in the mix. I want a 1A or a true number 1, or don't get anyone. I don't want to throw another type of that receiver in the mix. I didn't want that. So, and there was none that what receiver was out there that was the true number 1. There wasn't, in my opinion, a true stud number 1. We can argue Alex Pierce, but other than, I mean, he got paid. He took less money to stay in Indy, so I don't know that you were ever going to get him. I mean, he had multiple offers for more money and turned them down to stay in Indy. So that's where I was at the wide receiver position. Um, and the tight end. Once you had determined you were bringing Ingram back and he was your one, you weren't getting Goddard, you weren't getting Likely, you weren't getting any of these other guys that were going to come in and be a backup again. They wanted a starting role. And once you had decided Ingram was the guy, you were on to tier 2 and tier 3 guys. And like we've talked about, Troutman falls into that list of Sean Payton has a hard on for him, just like little Jordan Humphreys. And once you're in, you're in. And so I don't. It's not that I like the move, but I understand the move, and so I'm going to chalk it up to more. Davis Webb is going to fix things, and we are going to this moving to a little more air raid and getting away from these screen passes and being more balanced is going to fix a lot of our problems over getting one big name dude on offense.
All right. I got about 14 minutes of comments I got to get through. From the last time I paused, we'll go rapid fire on some of these questions are in here as well, man. But I got to get caught up on the posse. One comment that came in from Paul. He said, and I saw this as well. Stink watched tape and saw that Troutman and Ingram were telegraphing run and pass plays like you wouldn't believe. Wouldn't surprise me one bit, because I think one of the things that I would criticize this coaching staff on is what they said they would do is run a lot of plays out of the same set. Haven't seen that a whole lot. Keith Stober, kind of on your point, do you think that these re-signing is just to help the new offensive coordinator, Davis Webb, coming in, having all this consistency? Yes or no? Do you think this is part of the thinking in the re-signings that we've seen of Broncos we've already seen?
No, because I think if you brought in big name dude like Pitkins or whoever, that helps your OC much more. Okay. Those guys weren't out there to go get. I mean, can Denver still go get an AJ Brown or Pitkins or make a trade? Sure. But as just a straight true free agent, who was the wide receiver that was just the true number one top 10 wide receiver that was out there?
And I'll have some thoughts on that as well. Kurt Valente, good friend Kurt Valente. I appreciate you coming in here and being a part of this show. Kurt's coming in and says, heard these 4 names from Albright tonight: Juwan Jennings, David Njoku, Taysom Hill, Cameron Jordan. Which one would you take from this list? You got to take one, according to Kurt. I'm not going to give you any outs, so you got to take one. If you had a pick from these 4, which way are you going, my friend?
Oh, this one's easy for me. I'm taking Cam Jordan. I mean, I think he had 10.5 sacks last year. He can fit right into that John Franklin Meyer role. You can rotate him right in keep the rotation like with Roach, get Savion Jones some playing time, get him a little less snaps because he is, almost 37. So on a 1-year deal, for me, that's easy for me.
I'll agree. I'll go Cam Jordan on that list as well. Thanks for coming in here, Kurt, over on Facebook. Kenny's coming in on Facebook saying, evening, fellas. Michael's voting for David Njoku on that list. Albert Knoppers, that's the Mile High Dutchie. You know him. You love him. He's coming in and just letting us know that Max Crosby is available again. I think it would take like 5 first-round draft picks for the Denver Broncos to trade with the Raiders and get Max Crosby. I'm just guessing. I don't think they're not very good trade partners. Dobbins, Harvey, Kamara, and a rookie in the first 3 rounds. That's the room that Kurt Valente wants. Alvin Kamara, he doesn't retire. Looks like he's going to be out the door at this point, just in the moves that they made with ETN. If he didn't retire, would you bring about the idea of bringing Alvin Kamara to the Denver Broncos? Does that help him?
I don't hate the idea because you're going to get him on the cheap. He knows this offense. Him and Sean Payton have a rapport. I don't hate the move. It's another running back that hops Tyler Bidet, who of all the moves we've made, that's the one that I don't understand.
My number one, according to Mr. Michael Ronquillo, was Tyler Algier, with Kenneth Walker being his number two, Brees Hall being his three, and Travis Etienne was his number four. So Michael had to be big time disappointed because it seemed like there was a little bit more of an opportunity to get in on the Tyler Algier market, maybe compared to maybe the other names. Obviously, Brees Hall getting the tag, Travis Etienne going where he went. Kenneth Walker will be the interesting one because, especially him being number two on your list and then going to the Chiefs. Kurt Valente coming back in and saying, exactly, Jody, we don't need 10 picks. I want 4 picks. Make this the roster year. Make this roster this year. That's it. Move up multiple, get legit starters, 4 or 5 picks. That's it. I'm going to double down, Kurt. I don't want to talk about what Jody thinks. That's what I think. Because that's what I think. Oh, well, I mean, I do want to talk about what you think about. That's what this show's about, me and you going back and forth. But in this moment, with this comment, I want to talk about what I think. I wanted to go out there and I wanted to be aggressive in free agency. I want to go out there and I want to say, F them picks like I'm the Rams and get the guys you need. If that means I'm trading up to get Jeremiah Love, I don't care. Wager the future, throw in a player. If I don't care if that means giving up picks because you love George Pickens. I don't care if that means giving up picks and players and getting A.J. Brown. I want them to be aggressive. F them picks. If you see a guy in the draft, if you see that guy out there in free agency, if you see a guy out there that's available by trade, I think this is the time because you just talked about it. Bo Nix is coming up on a contract. It's coming. You're going to have a decision to make. And I don't think the Denver Broncos right now are leaning towards, I'm not sure about Bo Nix. We're going to let him walk. We're going to let him play out this contract and let him walk. I don't think so. So, what do we got? Jordan is coming in. Say, running it back with the same team will not win a Super Bowl. So why did they need to run it back? My question exactly. Yeah, Mims is good, says Paul. Kind of alluding to what you were talking about. Mims is good. Franklin's good. You want to see these guys develop. I want to see these guys develop, but I'll tell you what, if it meant that I got A.J. Brown instead across from Cortland Sutton, I know that changes this team. I think that makes him scarier.
Well,
I think that it gives you a whole lot more. And I know
I
that
agree
A.J.
with
Brown's
that.
a trade and stuff like that. We talked about, but here, I'll go back to tight end. Why didn't we go out and get a better tight end? We could let Evan Ingram go.
But who is that? If you say Isaiah Likely,
Yep.
his numbers have not been. He has not had one
He's
good
been
season.
behind Mark Andrews. He's been buried behind Mark Andrews. And every time he gets an opportunity, he looks great out there. And if you look at his stats when he gets those opportunities, he's been great. I see Evan Ingram as having how many years in the league? And how many years has he been off the charts great? How many times have we just been enamored by Evan Ingram's fantastic season? It hasn't happened. Take a chance. Go a different direction. Be scary. Right now, there's nothing scary about Adam Troutman and Alex Singleton and I don't know, whoever, Adam Prentice, for crying out loud.
Just me personally, I don't think that you move the needle one bit if you cut Evan Ingram and you go to Isaiah Likely and now you say, oh, now you're a scary offense. I don't feel that way. He's already here. In my opinion, I think the Davis Webb will get the tight ends involved and a little shift in what we're going to do offensively. I think that is going to be the key. Along with it costs you nothing to keep Ingram here, and you were going to have to go pay to get Likely. So, I mean, that's really the only guy. I mean, you can say Dallas Goedert, but I go back to once they decided they were keeping Ingram and he was your one, you weren't getting Goddard, you weren't getting Likely because they weren't coming here to be a number 2. Mm-hmm. So now you're on tier 2 tight ends. So that's where I ask everyone was Ingram a bust this year, or was it scheme was it scheme related? I mean, we've seen him have big plays. I thought he had big plays in Philly. He had the big catch against the Commanders that drove us down. I mean, I don't think he was bad this year. And when you put it all together, 50 catches, almost 500 yards, that's the most we've seen out of a tight end in Denver since Julius Thomas. So I just want to see what he can do if someone actively gets tight ends involved.
I got to get to our sponsor. We're a little bit past our sponsor break. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 35 years. They were once a nationwide company, and now they just hang out in northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, doing amazing shows like the Coin Show that's coming up March 14th and 15th out at the Longmont Fairgrounds. You got to check them out. Pearl just reached out to me and she said, Keith, silver is going crazy. Is going crazy in prices. She's going to have all of her silver at wholesale price out there at the Longmont Fairgrounds for the Coin Show. It's a great opportunity if you wanted to get into a silver at like a state price, truly wholesale prices. Great way to get into it. Morgan Trinkets is also available on Etsy by typing in Morgan Trinkets Coast. They're available over on eBay by typing in Pearl Heat. Check them out. I gotta get to these comments. We're just blowing up this evening. I'm scrolled past a lot of y'all. I apologize. I'm trying to keep up with what's relevant. If I missed a great comment, by all means, drop it back in there. I see Trevor's jumping in here and saying hello to everybody. I like this. So Kurt got in with me. He says, yes, that's the attitude. Go all in now. TW coming in over on YouTube, SP and GP got to hit on at least 4 players in this year's draft, or it's going to go downhill very quickly. Biggie Bronco, he says, and if they're going to go that type of offense, Harvey's not going to match well with the guys he cannot pass protect. Alluding to that running back. You've been taking that out of the equation, and I agree, man. Everyone wanted Travis Etienne, and it's been well documented. He wanted to go home. It would have cost an arm and a leg. I wasn't sold on Kenneth Walker. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs. It wasn't the biggest running back market. I would have liked him add somebody. Michael, I've been trying to keep up, and for some reason, my ability to track stars for some reason has went kaput. I don't see any stars coming up, and I completely agree that you probably dropped stars, my friend. So I appreciate you a ton. He comes in, he says, these other NFL teams had to overpay, and the Broncos did not have to overpay. The only overpaid for the re-signing of players we only overpaid for the re-signing players on the roster already.
Can I ask a question for everyone that keeps bringing up running back? Once we knew we weren't getting Etienne and why he went to New Orleans and all that, where did Dobbins fall into everyone's list of the next running back? I mean, I understand the injuries, and I understand that. So if that's the reason why you didn't want him here, that's valid, and I get that. I have said my bold prediction for next year is he plays 15 or more games next year. But if it's not injuries, where did Dobbins fall in for everyone as to the next running back that they wanted? Because it seems like there's just a lot of hate on, oh, that was a horrible, like Dobbins was such a crappy player here. Well, before he got hurt, he was like number 3 in rushing, and he was a legit running back. And so if it's not injury, what is the reason why we don't want Dobbins?
You can't what if me on that.
I'm saying if you say injuries, then okay, fine.
100%.
I'm good with that. But if it's not injuries, what is the reason why people didn't want Dobbins here?
100% mine is injuries. I would take Dobbins for the half a season that he's typically good for. You're saying he's going to play 15 games, maybe more this season. He's played 15 games once in his entire career. Once. So I don't know. We're hoping for the very best. I'm hoping for 9, 10 games out of Dobbins. And I need somebody, I guess, just like Dobbins that can come in and be there for the 7 to 8 games, 9 games that he's not if we go all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Because that's my biggest concern. It's the same reason that I was perfectly fine with Dre Greenlaw. I love Dre Greenlaw. When he was all twitched up in San Francisco, I think he was one of the most dominant players. But even yourself, you alluded to the fact that when he came back for the 49ers, he really didn't play. He had like 2 games that he basically didn't even play in. And that's what we had coming in. And there was a little bit of nervousness, and then he gets hurt, and then he's suspended, and then he gets hurt, and then, it's just too much. No. We need guys who are on the field, who can contribute. Love Dobbins when he's on and can contribute. But can I count on him? I think that's fool's gold to think that, man. And so that's why I needed somebody else. If that meant Rico Dowdle comes in, because at least I have another running back in the mix where I'm not just R.J. Harvey and Tyler Bidet, then I'm all for it. We needed something.
So will your nerves or will your frustration go away if we go draft a running back in the first 3 rounds and it's Jadarian Price or Mike Washington or Jonah Coleman? I mean, does that ease your thing over these guys that they've never really been true starters? Rico Dowdle's splitting time in Carolina, sure, and Tyler Allgeier's never been a starter. And there's a reason why they went out and drafted Bijan Robinson when he was there. They could have went and got another position of need. Would that ease your mind?
What doesn't ease my mind is that this running back draft class is so top heavy, Jody. I think that we could be looking at a couple of guys in the first round, and then we could be waiting until round 3 if we really look at it. I mean, it could be nobody in the second round as far as a running back is concerned. So now, what's the quality of talent versus that guy that's out there in free agency? What you see on tape, the best of like a Rico Dowdle, I'm hoping whatever I see on tape with any player, I can now put it on the Denver Broncos and get that much more. And they get that much better. If you don't think that your coaching staff can help out every single one of these players, that you can get a little bit more out of what you've already seen out of these players, then you're not very, in my opinion, you don't believe in your coaching staff very much. I mean, this team is loaded up, ready to go, AFC Championship last year. If you can bring in a player, you bring in Rico Dowdle, you might see the best of Rico Dowdle you've ever seen in your life because of the team he's on. Why wouldn't he?
Well, I agree, but that's still, like you told me earlier, what if? I don't know if you're going to get the best of Rico Dowdle. What is the best of Rico Dowdle?
I get that. Maybe something that looks like J.K. Dobbins when he's injured and we're waiting for him to come back.
Is there a reason that Dallas moved on from him to draft an often injured Javonte or sign an often injured Javonte Williams? Is there a reason Carolina moved on from him?
Sure. Maybe. Is there a reason that the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers moved on from J.K. Dobbins? Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe.
I mean, I said if everyone's opinion on J.K. Dobbins was injury and that's where they left it, then I have no argument. I can't defend that. But if there's another reason why you don't want J.K. Dobbins here other than injury, I would love to know what that is, because what we seen last year, he was balling out. He made incredible plays last year until he got hurt on a fluke, not even a fluke, on an illegal tackle. And yeah, it's still injury prone, but that's what it was. And so if it's not injuries, that's what I would like to hear from anyone else. What was the reason you don't want Dobbins here? And where does he fall in other than in this running back class if it wasn't for the injuries.
The only comment I see coming in on that was, I think, Kenny saying you're right. Lots of Broncos country did not want running back J.K. Dobbins back because of injuries, says Michael Ronquillo. Um, I think that's the major hangup. I think that's the reason that we are concerned. We do want guys that can be out there and they can be competitive for, game one all the way through to the very end if possible. We went through those years of having just absolutely tough luck when it came, or bad I don't know, trainers or in training facilities or whatever have you, and the injury bug just, defeating this Denver Broncos team. Certainly don't want to fall back into that. J.K. Dobbins, unfortunately, um, unfortunately, he, kind of falls in that category. And yeah, J.K. Dobbins was clapping back at Broncos country on X. I get it, man. I want him to clap back, come out there, be angry, prove us all wrong. I want to get to some of these more comments before we get out of here, man. But my focus now, in your mind, maybe the rest of the minds of the posse that are in here chatting up with us this evening. Thanks for the discussion and thanks for all the comments, man. I'm gonna have to go back through, and this is gonna be one of those episodes I'm gonna be answering some of these comments after the fact because you guys all been blowing it up, and I just cannot keep up this evening. Appreciate all the love and all the appreciation. And Michael Ronquillo, like I said, if my stars were working, I'd be pounding it out for you. Anybody that drops a little bit of love when it comes to Facebook stars, and one of these days when we get all out there on YouTube, thanks for everybody that's sharing. We'll be doing super chats as well, but thanks to everybody. Appreciate all the comments. The two guys in the draft class that should be taken in the second round are running backs. Coleman is the best pass blocking running back in the draft class, as well as the Mike Washington, which Mike Washington is a guy that I'll be looking for too, that could definitely be in the second round. But it all depends on how the draft falls. It just
and I love Mike Washington, his size.
I agree.
I kind of drifted away from. I don't want another 5'9", 180 running back. Mike Washington's like 6'3", like 230.
Yeah,
and can pass block. That's what I want. I want a guy like that. That's why someone in the chat put go all in for Love. Love is, if you go watch him and you watch tape of Eric Dickerson, someone brought this out a couple weeks ago, and I kind of went and did some studying. He is Eric Dickerson 2.0, the way he runs and the way he is just fluid in movement and different things. And I would sell the farm to go get him. And you're going to have to sell a lot because, look at Kansas City, look at New Orleans. Those were destinations that everyone's been saying for him, and they went out and got big-time running backs right away.
Yep.
He's going top 5. He may go number 2. So, to be honest, he's not even probably realistic. You're going to have to sell your whole draft to get him. So you need to look at who's the number 2 running back, the number 3 running back. And the more I watch stuff, I'm going to be a homer on Price. It is what it is. But I love Mike Washington. I love his size. And to me, that is and he can pass block. That is, to me, one of Sean Payton's most important things. And he runs in the hole. So I'm going to leave that as an incomplete till I see who we get in the draft.
Yeah, I get that, man. And I forgot I was gonna change it up, and I was gonna say, maybe we got like 10 minutes now. I think the focus now becomes on trade and draft, and we're starting to get into that conversation just kind of naturally right now. But that's kind of, I think, where we're at. Michael Ronquillo, since he's been dropping stars, and I see a comment right here, he says, I would love, and I would sell the farm for running back Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, or tight end Kenyon Sadiq, of course, out of Oregon as well. He'd sell the farm. Jody, you said that, you'd have to sell your whole draft. Remember, you can sell future drafts as well. Would you consider first and a second in order to get up to the place where you could draft a Jeremiah Love. Just as an example, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. Take Notre Dame away from it. This guy, and if you go watch film on him, and when that was brought to my attention, the Eric Dickerson, and you go watch how Eric Dickerson runs and how he runs, they are very similar. The guy pass blocks, the guy catches out of the backfield. Go watch him at the combine. I mean, he's making hands catches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he run a 4.3 6. The guy is, I mean, he may be one of the best running backs that I've seen. I mean, he's up there with Bijan Robinson and Saquon. He's better than Ashton Genty, in my opinion. I mean, he's one of the best running backs I've seen in the last 10 years. So, yeah, because that is the one position if you stayed pat on offense, you can win a Super Bowl with the talent you have, in my opinion, other than running back. That is the guy I would go get.
There you go. Going a different side, Jesse's coming in on YouTube saying Jacob Rodriguez any way you can. Looking at the linebacker, I talked about that. You know, that's a position I think that we can all get better at. Phil McLaughlin tied up tonight. We'll watch again. Have a great show, guys. Appreciate you coming in. You cannot get better at every position in the draft. That's what free agency is for. I will say, again, I'm not ruling out the idea of trade. I mean, a lot of people are even shocked that the Jets were going to hold on to Breece Hall, put a franchise tag on him, right? That's still an opportunity. George Pickens, still an opportunity. A.J. Brown, still an opportunity. There are still opportunities to go out there and get guys onto your roster if you really want to via trade. There's still guys out there when it comes to free agency, but let's face it, we start the days ticking, the hours ticking. It's kind of like being late to Black Friday, you know, rolling around on Saturday afternoon, seeing if there's any deals left over. It's not nearly as good looking as if you would have been there in line for when the doors open on Black Friday, which free agency tends to be. And then we got to focus on this draft, man. The draft is the next piece, man. We're going to be heavy into the draft after this because the Denver Broncos are going to be heavy into the draft. They're going to have to be. Emmett Johnson, running back from Nebraska, is a name I really like, says Trevor Salzman as well.
I have a question.
If you're in the rough, yes, Pearl,
if you're going to trade, if the only way you're going to get a true, because in my opinion, I don't think there's a number one wide receiver in this draft, and that goes all the way to the Ohio State wide receiver. I don't think he's a true number one. There's a bunch of 2s and 3s. So if you're going to go get a true number one and you have to trade for that, who is the guy is it Brown? Is it Pitkins? Who is the guy you want? Because and I asked that, and where do you, if that's the route you want to go, do you think Sean Payton and George Payton, where do you think that they feel on, I'll say 2 guys, Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant? Do you think that they feel that those could be true number 2s in the NFL, or I mean, do you think they really feel that way, or how do you think they really feel about those two guys? Because I think those are the 2 guys that are holding everything back as to go make a massive move to get an A.J. Brown or Pitkins or whatever.
I agree. And I would say that I do think, in my opinion, I think they have the ability to be true number 2s. And that's the thing that holds up everything, right? Yeah, it's the reason it's tough to pull the trigger, because as Sean Payton hates to do, let good talent go out the door and be productive on another team. It's one of the things he preaches to this coaching staff. I don't want it to happen. That becomes really tough, and you alluded to it. You know, at some point, the Denver Broncos are going to be so popular that teams are going to want to flock, or players are going to flock to this team. We didn't necessarily see it maybe in this free agency, but I think we're on the precipice of that happening. And when that happens, you have to make tough decisions on good players that you know will be productive on other teams. So yeah, AJ Brown would kick out, I think, a very good player, whether that be a Troy Franklin, whether that be a Pat Bryant, and that's gonna hurt. You know what I mean? And it might even be part of the trade. But it's a part that you have to take. Sometimes you have to take that gamble, because I think we all know, like in an AJ Brown, a George Pickens would now just be draft picks with the franchise tag.
Right.
AJ Brown could be something else. So that's that. I mean, but you're Michael Ronquillo's, like he's saying, coming in here, you got to feel good about it. You got to feel good about AJ Brown. Be aggressive, not reckless. And there's a difference. I just don't like when George Paton comes out saying we're going to be aggressive this offseason. And so far, one of the biggest pieces to offseason, free agency, it's a bunch of re-signing our own guys and not a whole lot of aggressiveness in going after guys maybe outside the Denver area codes, I guess.
So I haven't heard anyone in the chat. If we're going to end on this, what do we think it's a lack of talent, or do we think it's a scheme thing with the screens? And do we think the little tweaking of we're going to be more air raid, throw the ball down the field a little bit more, getting the plays in faster so Bo Nix has more time at the line of scrimmage to read things? Do we think that solves a lot of the offensive problems, or it was all lack of talent? I would like to know what the chat thinks of that and what you think.
Sound off, chat. I did want to. I was trying to find the comment. Came up a little bit earlier that maybe a potential news that Njoku was had a visit scheduled with the Denver Broncos. Just put that in your ear. We'll have to do some checking on that behind the scenes. Hey, this offense, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, even when we had comment, I believe it was from Paul, saying how telegraphed this offense could be. If Evan Ingram's out there, it's going to be a pass play. If Adam Troutman's out there, it's going to be a running play. When you look at what this offense is capable of, even just from that tight end position, that's where you're shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, just in that alone. I think there's a lot of opportunity for the tight end to be a bigger piece of this offense. And certainly if you're getting away from a lot of the screens that we like to do. Now, it will bring into question, can Marvin Mims be a different type of player, one that we saw maybe later in the playoffs, especially against Buffalo, than we saw against, for the majority of what he did throughout 2025, being more that gadget guy, screen guy, behind the line of scrimmage type of play. If those are going to go away, does Marvin Mims, can he transition into being that down the field wide receiver? I know that obviously he had a lot of that role in college, but this is the NFL. So we'll have to see if that skill set can translate there. But the tight end position, yeah, that could absolutely open up with a transition in the mindset and the thinking. And as you even alluded to in our pre-game chat, or a pre-podcast chat, maybe we could even get the play calls out there just a little bit quicker as well.
If used right, what can Evan Ingram be, do you think, in this offense?
I think he can add 200 yards to his stat line. I mean, the one thing that I hate to project Evan Ingram too far, because how old is Evan Ingram? How many years in the league is Evan Ingram? You know what I mean? And at some point, Father Time catches up with everybody.
Right.
I think he did pretty well, but I don't think he was as dynamic as he was 5 years ago on the field. I just think that with the focus, we could probably see another couple 100 yards out of Evan Ingram. I just think that's why I liked Isaiah Likely. Young guy, not a whole lot of reps. Think he still has something that he could go out there and prove. Maybe Njoku is that guy if he is coming in on a visit, guy that hasn't been overutilized. False report on Njoku in Denver, Colorado, visiting, says Michael. So,
So if you can get
there's
seven
that.
hundred and 4 or 5 touchdowns, that's a successful season.
I think that's, the top end of a successful season out of Evan Ingram. Yeah, that's a repeat. I think is still a possibility just because of age. I don't think he's. I just don't. It's tough to project when I didn't see a whole lot. He didn't have that focus. I think we called for it, Jody. That sometimes we just wanted last year them to have an Evan Ingram game, right? Just to have a a Troy Franklin game. I mean, it seems like we always had a Cortland Sutton game, especially early in the season. So we can check that one off the box. But it never just seemed like there was a game that they focused on Evan Ingram. If I had 2 games that I could say, man, they just really fed it to Evan Ingram, and now I got the tape, that's great. But I feel like I'm rating him off of 3 catches in a game and saying, was that a good game? You know what I mean? Because I might not see one a catch for the
Right.
next 2. You know what I mean? Really tough.
Can you put Kenny's comment up there? I would like everyone to answer that, see what
That
they think on
particular
that.
one. Let's see.
It's the same offense. Jody Davis Webb will do whatever Sean Payton tells him,
Okay.
and I disagree with that. Will Sean Payton get in Davis Webb's ear sometime and say, "We're going for it on 4th down, so pick whatever you're going to pick," or "We're throwing it here, or we're running it here"? Yeah, he'll probably do that. But I can't see Sean Payton saying you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm only using you to get the play in faster. I can't. I don't see that. Do you see that? I think they're going to let Davis Webb mold some stuff that he wants. They've got to adapt. They did little to zero motion with Sean Payton last year until that last game, and then it looked goofy with them because all they were doing just barely motion a guy to find out if they were in man or zone. They weren't trying. It looked goofy. It didn't look right. I think that's where Davis Webb will evolve some of this stuff, and I don't think it's just going to be Sean. He's just going to be Sean Payton's puppet.
I think the biggest evolution will be the play call timing. That allows you the ability to go ahead and set guys in motion and do the whole 9. But when you're getting up there and you're just trying to get your call outs and trying to figure out where guys are at, and you look up and now there's 8 seconds on the clock, no time to start doing a whole bunch of shifts and motions. It'll be interesting to see what the Denver Broncos will do. Man, this has been an amazing, amazing episode. Like I said, I have so many comments I'll have to get back to. It's going to be interesting to see if the Denver Broncos do anything in the remainder of this free agency. We will see if there's any trades that can transpire, and there's still the possibility of that over the next days and weeks, I guess you could say.
I have one last one for you on the trade thing.
Just real quick, and then we'll get right into the NFL draft, and we'll have tons of coverage on that. Can't wait to get into that. Everybody, what do you got for me, Jody?
If they make a big trade for whoever it is, Trey McBride at tight end or Pitkins, Brown, whatever, will that ease Broncos countries in your mind that, hey, we went out and made the splash and that guy will help Sutton and so on down the line and help everyone else?
I think, like everybody, I think if it's the right guy, I think we're right. I think if it's like an A.J. Brown, you know what I mean? I can envision an A.J. Brown. That for me, like, kind of clicks, right? That's one that makes sense. If the Denver Broncos check off on that, believe that this is a guy that they can bring in and he's the right guy, then I'm on board with that. But that's like just as an example, you know what I mean? But I feel at some point, and like this one, Devon A-Chain, I'm a fan, Kenny. But great example. I appreciate that. I think for a lot of Broncos country, I think that just one move would be fantastic. TW coming in and saying McBride would be an elite pickup. So you're getting a big check on that one, I think, Jody. I take it you're not for this. You don't feel like there's a guy that you want to go out there and sell the farm for and trade in order to bring in here and feel like it's a win? Or
Who,
give us your
me?
thoughts on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do because I've said there was no one true number one wide receiver that was just on the open market, so you were going to have to trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I said for a long time, either trade for a number one or don't sign anyone because I don't want another Troy Franklin in here that's battling reps and not getting consistency and all that. I don't want that. So Pitkins, Brown, Justin Jefferson, maybe. I don't know what their situation is in Minnesota.
Mm.
That's really the and Brian Thomas Jr. That is one that I would consider as well because I've heard that they're listening to trade offers. He's a number one, and that's really about it. Yeah, Jamar Chase and some of these other guys, but those to me are not even realistic options. So, but the guys that are realistic, I think those are probably the three: Thomas Jr., AJ Brown, or George Pitkins. And I don't even know how realistic George Pitkins is because I'm not sure Dallas is going to let him go.
Yeah, I think if you go out there and you give them the 2 first rounders, I don't think that's an option. I think that's part of the franchise tag. You can basically give up your 2 first round picks and he's yours. I'll have to look into it all. It's been basically never done. So I don't know if we should expect it. One last one from Michael Ronquillo. If you don't like the Denver Broncos organization, is doing with the franchise, please get off the Denver Broncos organization train. Try not to be mean. God bless Bo Nix and God bless and go Bo Broncos, orange and blue hearts. Yeah, Michael, and I get where you're coming from, man. This is treacherous times when your team comes under critique. And I think that's the main way I'm going to look at it. I'm critiquing the Denver Broncos. I don't feel like I don't think I'm being mean spirited in any way. And if you feel somebody else is in here, I apologize. We can go and maybe weed out some comments. That being said, man, critique is good. Sean Payton sits around and gets critique and gives critique. I guarantee it. And that's what's going to be lifting this organization. Want nothing but the best for my Denver Broncos. Been too long a fan to know nothing but the very best, and I think that's what most of us are all about. Yeah, Michael is the man. We appreciate Michael Ronquillo. Thank you so much, and thanks Ernie for saying that. Final thoughts. I don't know if I missed an answer to a question. I got a little distracted with Michael Ronquillo there, but if I did, remind me and I'll get back to it. But we should get running. Some final thoughts from you, my friend.
Just to everyone, don't be discouraged with what Denver did or didn't do. I don't think there was one guy other than, in my opinion, Tyler Bidet. I don't understand that move. I don't understand the move at all. But he doesn't play. He doesn't get carries. He doesn't play anyway. So he might be the Jaleel McLaughlin this year that's inactive every game. But don't be discouraged by you didn't get the big name guy. I mean, look what they did the first year. Randy Gregory and some other things that failed miserably. You've got guys here now that we've seen produce and do things. And just remember, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Is Alex Singleton an elite top 5 linebacker? No, he's not, but that's a guy I want to go to battle with, and that's a guy that Vance Joseph and Sean Payton love, and the amount of respect he has in the locker room, and I just go back to that Buffalo game. I mean, where's Denver without that play? If that play doesn't happen, where are we at? So is he the best in coverage? No, he's not, but that's a guy I want to go to battle with. And so it's not that am in love with all these moves. Could we have done better, Troutman or whatever? Yeah, but I don't hate the moves, and I understand them. And like I said, that's my bold prediction for next year. Dobbins plays 15 or more games, and just like Brandon Jones, just like Mike McGlinchey, just like I don't know, whoever else that they brought in that was injury prone that stayed healthy. Hufanga, I think that's going to happen next year, and then judge J.K. Dobbins after 15, 16 games next year.
Yeah. It's.
I know it's a big what if, but
I know. Hey, man, we got to get back into those hot takes. That's a great hot take, man. Yeah, but I think at the same time, like most of our hot takes, not so crazy, not so off the board that it couldn't happen. You're absolutely right. This Denver Broncos organization has done very well when it comes to health and getting players on the field, keeping them on the field. And outside of it was a pretty freak, illegal tackle that took him out. So, I mean, that being said, who knows? Could he have continued on his pace, been there to the very end? That's what we all want to see. Jody's here giving the hot take and saying he's going to be here for 15-plus games next season. We're talking about J.K. Dobbins, and he's just kind of wrapping up, man. He's saying, and I get it, Jody. Stay confident. There's not a lot of moves out there. I think sometimes the grass isn't always greener. We have a lot of great players. It's the reason we're in the AFC Championship. I'm a little bit on the other side, as we've talked about all this podcast, man. Really would like to see in a move or two, especially with a few exits happening for the Denver Broncos. Time will tell, though, man. Like I said, trades, the rest of free agency, and, of course, the NFL draft will be covering it all. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. We go live with the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast every Wednesday and every Saturday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have an amazing show called The Juice that goes live on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, where they cover all 32 NFL teams and some college as well. Right now, the focus is NFL, obviously. And then, of course, the Pick Is In Mock Draft podcast. That comes on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Make sure you check that out. Check out our amazing sponsor, Morgan Trinkets. They'll be out at Longmont Fairgrounds at the Coin Show, giving away silver. Well, not giving it away. It'll be at wholesale prices, plus Southwest Jewelry and Pottery and Estate Gold as well. Everybody, thank you so much for the comments. Appreciate you being part of the podcast. Appreciate you being part of the posse, man. But we're going to get out of here like we always do. I'll be off there, I guess, answering all your thoughts and your comments, man, because you guys blew it up. We appreciate you a ton.
Yeah, great show tonight.
Fantastic show. We're going to get out of here the way we always do. Boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next episode, we're out of here. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.